Hi, Tubers, I'm back for 20 years of Mills and Boone. And first of all, this is a first for the project, in which normally I just spend like 10 to 20 minutes talking about the book, good stuff, bad stuff, the writing, the style, the storyline. This one is unique because it's so goddamn bad. It is the worst one I've ever read in my entire life. It shocked me, it disgusted me. It delves into, I can't say the word on YouTube, act without consent. How about that? Yes, we know what we're talking about here. Yes, he doesn't consent at all. It's despicable. It's absolutely disgusting. So, yeah, okay. Let me read the blurb. It's called The Italian Boss's Mistress of Revenge by Trish Morey. Mills and Boone Modern. It came out in, when did this come out? 2008 as memory serves. Yep, came out 2008, so, and it's god-awful. Even for 2008, the contents of this book are absolutely despicable. Let me just read the blurb. The Boss's Bedroom Bargain. All that stands in the way of Dante Carrazzo and revenge is Mackenzi Keogh. I actually look up how that was pronounced. The surprisingly sexy manager of the hotel he plans to ruin. Mackenzi will do almost anything to save the business, something Dante ruthlessly uses to his advantage. He'll reconsider destroying the hotel if she becomes his mistress. From manager to mistress in a day, Mackenzi knows she should trust Dante, but the pleasure he gives is too heady to resist. However, their bedroom bargain comes to an unexpected end when Dante learns that his mistress of revenge is pregnant with his child. Oh God. Okay, so it starts out on a dark and stormy night. This is chapter 1, okay? It's a dark and stormy night. Dante's on the way to Ashton House to tear it down. He's essentially bought it under the owners, who he can't stand. It's going to be explored later. Okay, a dark and stormy night. He's driving a BMW. And the fact is that he's basically early, okay? He didn't turn up for his room, kind of lost it. And so, but he turns up anyway, really like 7 o'clock in the morning, wanted his bedroom, okay? And as soon as he gets there, okay, this bit here, okay, and the way Ashton House is described, okay, this dark and haunted mansion, get this, Ashton House at last. Shrouded in swirling mist, the old mansion turned a boutique hotel, looked almost sinister. The windows dark and unwelcoming, the old sandstone walls glowing unnaturally in the muted lantern light. He parked the car, mentally adding the word brooding and resentful. Almost as if he hated it as much as he hated the last thing it represented. So be it. Okay, so gets there, gets to the clerk, and right, this bit here, right, because everyone's on tenterhooks, okay, and this bit here, this is when, okay, he's just checking in. He's checking in. Dante's checking in. Right. The clerk straightened up as if someone had shoved an iron rod up his spine. Dante caught the smell of fear that came with it. It came as no surprise. All the staff would be wondering, now that he owned Ashton House, lock, stock and barrel, exactly what he had in mind for it. Why don't be on tenterhooks? He allowed himself a wise smile. Given his reputation, they had a right to be. So, right, so he gets his room, okay, which he thought he lost, but no. Right, and then this is where the crux of Dante justifying what he did, because it's all a confusion, okay, is then he's told he's got a welcome basket, okay, he's got he's got a welcome package. Here you go. I meant to tell you, Mr. Carrazzo, the staff organised a welcome package for you. You'll be finding it waited in your suite, but please don't hesitate to let me know if there's anything else you need. Okay, yeah, okay. A welcome. Now you think Dante, who's been in millions and millions of hotels, okay, knows what a welcome package is. I've had a welcome package in a hotel. It was lovely. Oh, honestly, it's like it's a hamper with like wines and chocolates, and oh, it was lovely. Okay, so yeah, that was nice. Okay, no, here's welcome package. Here's a welcome package after he goes in, hits the liquor cabinet, you know, throws some malt liquor down his throat, malt whiskey. Okay. Talks about Sarah and Jonas, who originally owned the hotel, okay? And then he goes into his bedroom and finds a naked woman in his bed. His bed, okay? Right. Yeah, there's a naked woman in his bed. Right, and he thinks she's the welcome package. What a total arsehole. What a total bastard. Chapter 2. Okay. Right. Some welcome package he thought with reluctant apprehension. Muscle weariness morphing into testosterone filled into in an instant. He moved closer to the bed, by rights his bed. He just handed to the staff it. They were nothing if not creative. No one else had the personnel tried the Goldilocks approach, trying to soften his attitude by pressing a tender flesh onto him. And that flesh did look tender, he mused. Tender, smooth, and very inviting. Not that he was really that interested. No one decided who Dante Carrazzo slept with, and no Hall was about to change his mind about what he planned for this place. But the fact is, okay, it's a dark and stormy night, and this woman in his bed, okay, she won't wake up. Now, hey, I will sleep through anything, okay? I was in an earthquake back in Cyprus many years ago, okay, and the first one, but a couple of aftershocks I just slept through because whatever, you know. I've slept through storms, okay, lightning, okay, but she won't wake up, okay. He tries to wake her up, but the conventional approach of, you know, get the hell out of my bed isn't working. Well, he's not exactly trying hard enough, is it? Like, okay, he's just basically drinking in the vision of her. I hate my life. Okay, right. What would it take to wake her up? If he could sleep through a storm like this, it might take a while to wake her by conventional means, which left him with the unconventional. Right. Right, yeah. Right, okay. But let's talk about Sarah and Jonas, okay, who once again own a hotel, okay, right. And he decides to, as she's here in this room where Sarah and Jonas did the terrible thing to me, explain later. Right. Damn them, he'll bury every part of their memory, every part of their legacy, just how he buried himself deep inside this woman, then he would toss her out. Right. Now it was a time to find out how difficult his Goldilocks would be to arouse. The more difficult, the better he acknowledged. For tonight, he didn't want conversation. Tonight was about retribution. You do know where I'm going with this, don't you? You know where I'm going, right? Okay. Okay, right. He tries to wake her up, okay, by grabbing her on the shoulder, okay, kind of like shake her up. Now, okay. She's lying, okay, man hand on her shoulder, that would be about here. Very, he's not touching her shoulder, okay, he's not. No, he's not touching her shoulder. Right, right. Reluctantly, he pulled away, watching her shadowed face, as the body reacted to what he was doing, because by this point, okay, he's touching her. He's touching her face, he's touching her body, he's touching her lips, he's touching her without her consent, because she's asleep, okay? Right, so he's just basically touching her, okay? And in his mind, okay, she's dreaming of sex, okay? So it's fine what he's about to do, okay? Right. It was different, he realised, pleasuring a woman asleep, different and more arousing. There was something more evocative and more empowering, sex by stealth. Holy shit. Right. And then, of course, right, as she's responding to his touch, okay, she mentions the name Richard, okay, in her sleep, right. Why are you touching her body? Without her consent. Right, she murmured something, a name almost an entreaty, Richard. Suddenly, his little game was the pill. Huffin wanted to take his time and play this sort of game for all it was worth, to explore every curve and hollow of a flesh to savour the secret pleasure. Why he waited for her to awaken, but the other half craved more. The last thing he wanted was her thinking of someone else while he made love to her. He wanted her awake. He wanted her to realise that it was making love to her. Then he proceeded to obliterate every trace of Richard from her memory. He only wakes her up because she says someone else's name. Otherwise, he never would have said it. Do you realise how despicable that is? That's disgusting. He's assaulting her. I'm reading the Mills and Boone book, okay, which is page 17 right now, where the hero, okay, Dante, I've totally gone off that name, is assaulting the heroine. Okay, right. Then he puts his mouth to her chest, okay, because time for you to wake up, Goldilocks, and that's how he does it. That's how he wakes her up. And for Mackenzie, yeah, she was dreaming, okay, about her ex, Richard, who wasn't... Oh, this is from her thing, okay? Right. The dream was back, her night caller was back, the one who spoke to Mackenzi, not with words, but with heated lips and sweet caresses. A dark stranger who drugged her with sensuality and reassured her that she was desirable and woman or woman. The one who made her want to believe it. Tonight she felt like a real woman, and because she wanted to believe it more than anything, what he was telling her so much. So yeah, so essentially because her ex Richard says some horrible things to her, okay, she doesn't feel like she's a woman, okay, and so she's responding to Dante, okay, she's responding to him in her sleep, okay, he is just going for it on her body. Once again, can't say the word without her consent. Right, and this bit here is just her lost in the moment, okay, and then she wakes up as you would, okay, right, and Dante's reaction is like, oh, good morning, Goldilocks, I begin to think you'll never wake up. His voice soothed even what he felt like a steel band clamped around her, anchoring her to the bed, but she couldn't have moved a muscle even if she had tried, not when another bolt of lightning lit up the room and the face of her dream lover with it. Dante. She actually said his name out loud. It hadn't been a dream. Reality was far, far worse. It was a nightmare. So, she is awake on his bed, okay? He has had some booze, okay? She literally is woken up naked in her bed. Well, it's her hotel, okay? She thought he wasn't going to come for the room. He has done all this stuff to her. She is the kind of delirious. She's woken up to this. I mean, she's woken up with a man over her bed. And then, okay, she's like, start stumbling, I should be going, okay? And then she heard the rip of foil and he turned back with something in his hands. And she discovered in a rush of awareness something about her new late night visitor. Yeah, while she's been lying there trying to figure out what the hell to do. Yeah, okay, well, hey, you know. Right. Right, and this is where, okay, instead of like kicking her in and running and screaming, okay, right, she sees his body and gets a bit here, okay, her gaze moved lower and she swallowed, her tongue tied, her brain scrambled, forgetting everything in a rush of hormones that fired the system, hormones she wasn't supposed to have. What? Okay, and Dinah's like, oh, you don't want to leave now, okay. And once again, it goes back to Richard, okay, what he said. It's like she's trying to prove something to herself, okay, that she's not, right. And because she decides to stay. Not stay, I mean, she was in a terrible position to start with, okay. This guy just assaulted her. And yet, okay, right. He's still working on her body, okay. And her justification in staying whilst, once again without her consent, and whilst he's definitely prepared for the action, if you will, is but here. It's a bad idea to seem to register from somewhere under the battery of sensations that accompanied his action. A very bad idea, but the life of her couldn't work out why. Not such a bad idea after all, another simple voice crooned. You finally get to experience what Richard was been telling you incapable of. And where's the danger? The voice argued. It's dark. He'll be asleep in 5 minutes and he'll never notice you. He'll never notice you. This is this bitch's inner goddess. Remember that in 50 Shades? My inner goddess? If this is this woman's inner goddess, okay, I wanna batter it over the head with something, okay? This is a horrible situation in the real world for anyone to go through, okay? But her justification in staying, okay, even though she's in a terrible position to start with, okay, she's the hotelier, okay, who has a client do all this to her, is my ex said I wasn't a real woman. This is so messed up. What went through Trish Morey's mind when she wrote this character? It's despicable. Okay, so they have sex and it's the best sex of Untitled. If it goes on for a couple of pages, of course it is. Okay, Dante passes out because, hey, he's been driving all night and he's just had, you know, he just had the gift package. Oh, what the fuck? Right. And that's when, okay, after Mackenzi's had the best sex of her entire existence, it's for here. Right. Feed it down her spine. Now she'd been satisfied. Now she'd given to her body's desperate desires. There was no place for her mind to hide. No place for her fear. What the hell had she done? She squeezed her eyes closed, clamping one hand over her mouth to prevent from crying out in distress. What had she been thinking, and how could she allow anyone, especially him, to do that to her? Right. There'd been no room for thinking, no room for logic, not with the bevy of sensations he triggered off inside her, but even now her muscles still hummed as if clinging to the memories of unfamiliar passion. A familiar yet very welcome passion. Right. You never know it's you. The words of a mantra came back to her. She saw a sideways look. Oh no, it wasn't as simple as that. Dante Carrazzo couldn't recognise her, or her cause was doomed before it even started. Right. And then she spends a moment, okay, looking at his chiseled jaw and wonderful features. Okay, and then gets the hell out of Dodge, right? She waited for a few moments, listened to the steady rhythm of his breathing, and assuring her that he was asleep, easing herself from the bed, gathering up the piece of folded clothes she left on an armchair, and bolted from the door. Oh no, she would not think about how amazing that mouth felt on her skin, as she would not. Oh honey, I'll be calling the goddamn police. Okay, I'll be calling the goddamn police. Okay, you know. A legal point of view, okay, Mackenzie, you're the hotelier. Why were you in Dante's room? Oh, he was late checking in, and I just thought that he wouldn't turn up, okay, because it was like stupid o'clock at night. Fine, that's probably done that before many times in your career. Due to miscommunication, Mr. Carrazzo, when you walked into the room, what was your actions? Oh, I thought she was a care package. Oh, hold on. When you have stayed in hotels over the years, what does a care package normally consist of? Wine and cheese and whatever. Oh, so you thought this woman sleeping in your bed was your care package? Did you wake her up in an appropriate manner? No. Did you call the staff downstairs to let them know, by the way, there's a woman in my bed, can we deal with that? No. Instead you, without her consent at all, violated her? Yeah. She'd be calling the goddamn police right now. But no. The next day, chapter 3. Right, this is when Dante is in the hotel, okay, Ashton House, right, and of course Dante's magically handsome, good looking, of course he is, right. Even so, chapter 3, there was something about him that kept female heads around him turning. It wasn't that he was classically handsome under that dark scale with too many strong angles, too many shadowed recesses, and too little compassion marking his features. It's more of a terrible beauty that he wore, a smouldering intensity. Compelling, dangerous. The second at him was enough to make Mackenzie's eternal muscles clench involuntarily with memories of how that smouldering intensity had felt inside her. Dante Carrazzo was the most striking man in the restaurant, exuding power in every movement and impatient gesture, and thinking about how he filled her so just a few short hours ago. Okay? And Mackenzie's hoping that he won't recognise her. In chapter 3, by the way. Yeah. Right. 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 Oh, and this is when, okay, a bit of common sense hit Mackenzie, okay? Because she didn't. Right. What kind of a man did something like that anyway? Launched himself on a sleeping woman like he had a God-given right to have sex with her. She might have been sleeping in the bed reserved for him, but he hadn't expected him to ride for hours. And she certainly didn't recall tattooing "Take Me" on her forehead before she'd gone to sleep. She swallowed back her guilt. What you got to feel guilty of? Okay? It's because she hadn't backed away when she had the chance didn't make it right. It's because she enjoyed it didn't make it right. It took advantage of the situation and of her. You figure this out now? Yes, Mackenzie, he took advantage of you. Sorry, what? I'm supposed to like this guy? He's a dick. Alright. Oh, and this bit here, okay, this is when Dante blaming, okay? Right, finally meets Mackenzie well, it's already met her face to face, but now she meets her in the flesh, but now he meets her in a more, professional setting. This bit here. Right. What kind of name is Mackenzie for a woman? What kind of shit is that? I actually looked this up last night, okay, so my Kindle's dead, but Mackenzie is a very, very common name now. Originally, it was a man's name, but now it's a unisex name. It's actually my niece's name, okay, so... Right, what kind of name is Mackenzie for a woman? Oh, so we're expecting a guy. So you got yourself a woman. Here you go. It's my name, Mr. Carrazzo, she answers, still edgy. But for the first time, daring to look at him near the eye, a confidence edging upwards. If she hadn't recognised her yet, then maybe, just maybe, he never would. Right. If anything surprised Dante Carrazzo, not anymore, but Ashton House ordered fried them with a hat trick of surprises. First had been discovery of the welcome package, warm in his bed, the woman who'd assured him a rapid and satisfied descent into sleep. Second had been an absence this morning. Sure, he intended to throw her out, but it had grated that she'd been one to leave before he had a chance to determine when he was finished with her. Surely a welcome package should hang around until she'd outlived her welcome. I hate you, Dante, with every fibre of my being. Right. And then, of course, Dante is scrutinising Mackenzie, okay? Oh, yeah, of course he is, right? She was uncomfortable when he looked at her. Where was that? Most women had no problem with his perusal. Most welcomed it. Many more invited it. And she must have be used to men looking at her. She was really no hardship to look at, even in a mousy little manager's outfit. She had pleasant enough features. Maybe her nose was a little crooked. And there was some curls under her corporate shirt that hinted at some kind of promise. Oh, yeah. So, alright. But he's like, no, this is Ashton House. It's mine. I'm going to tear it down. Screw the building. Screw the building. I hate the building. You know, their little burn it all down. Okay, whatever. Okay. Right. And she's like, but no, it's Ashton House. My parents got married here. I was kind of raised in this place. And you can't. People need their jobs. Right. I own Ashton House, he said, injecting his voice in more than hitting a menace. I can do whatever I damn well please. Right. He watched her chest swell in a breath as she sat up, ramble straight, her hands clasped tightly together on a table. Like with some of those others that you've concerned. Right. But what you've done with them, 3 perfectly good businesses destroyed, 3 hotels gutted are turned into apartment blocks. And all for what? Revenge, you thought, rolling the word like you're saving it, how sweet it is. But things for them to understand, no one else could. No one else had been to that black hole been thrust into and had to climb his way out, one bleeding hand after the other. There's progress, he tossed casually. The world moves on. Right. As the kind of progress you have in mind for Ashton House, are you planning for the world to move on here too? So you can fill up the world with more of your precious apartment blocks? Oh yeah. I would do anything to save this hotel. Right. And Dante doesn't give a shit. Doesn't give a shit to her, please. You can't do this, Dante. You can't turn down this hotel. It means so much to me. It means so much to the people, okay, who work here. Right. He doesn't give a shit. Okay. I'm going to destroy it, he told her. I'm going to pull every window and every door and leave it to the elements to mould until it's nothing more than a crumbling ruin. Shock exploded inside her, wrenching her hair voice, so that when it came, it was more than a breath than a voice. Why do you use the word voice twice in a sentence? I whispered that she felt like she swallowed sandpaper. Why would you do that? Because I can. Okay, yeah, I can. I can do it. Yes. Right. And the fact that it doesn't even give a shit about her. Okay, right. And she's like, well, I won't do it. I won't do it. Okay? You know, we've got bookings, we've got this, we've got that. And he doesn't even give a shit about her. He's like, well, you've listened to your job, Miss Knopf. I'm sure we can arrange an early termination for you if that's so. Say today. Mackenzi gasped, a hardcore reality that she might walk out of here jobless, not in 3 months, but as soon as today started to bite. She was lucky the most. A house, a tiny stone cottage deep in the hills, was almost paid off, courtesy of a single life and a reasonable income. So the termination payment will keep her going only for how long? So, yeah. And Dante sussed who she is, okay, because he's not stupid, and, you know, well, he's a prick, and he's an arsehole, and he's not what a welcome package is. And Dante's like just sitting there smug in his chair, does in his chair like, right. I don't understand how you could sleep at night. Is that what you provided the woman? Because you assumed I need entertaining while my guilty conscience kept sleep at bay. Right. I don't know what you're talking about. Dante smiled at her. You were in my bed last night. You're the manager here. Don't tell me you didn't arrange for her. Her eyes snapped back, her mouth set grimly, the knotted napkin forgot as she rose shaky to her feet. I don't have to listen to this. Right. So tell me, where's this horror now, Mr. Carew? They're waiting for you to return for a peak performance of your now magnificent services. I'm surprised you can drag yourself out of bed. Right. And she's like, oh, right, okay. He's such as her, okay? Green eyes. It's like, oh, well, who's a better lover, me or Richard? Okay? Right. So, Dante, chapter 4. Okay, Dante doesn't give a shit. He's going to tear the hotel down. He basically says to her, so who's a better lover than me? Because little Miss Green Eyes, Richard or me? You know? You said his name in your sleep. You talk in your sleep. He's such an arsehole. I hate him so much. Okay? To do what he did. And he acts like he's proud of it. So even women who indulge, or whoever, who indulge in the world's oldest profession, by the way, no judgment, by the way, you still need consent. Okay? But he's like, well, you know, you gave me a whore for the night, and I would have used our service again and just kicked her out because I'm Dante and I can do what I want. I can do what I bloody want. Right. Chapter 4. So, this bit here. Right. Shock momentarily punched the air from my lungs. She hadn't thought of Richard in days, no more than weeks. It was not until I had a dream last night, and then a bit only to wonder why I never made her feel as good as her dream lover. But like her dream, had never really been a dream at all. His questions simply had nothing to do with Richard. It was telling her that she was the woman in his bed, the woman he called a whore. It was telling her that he knew. Right. And Dante pretty much, like, I don't know, outside, like, you came to my bed. He basically, essentially calls her a whore. Okay? He calls her a whore. Right. So, but she tries to deny it. No, it wasn't me, okay? And she's like, oh no, Mr. Cruz, no, call me Dante because we're on first name terms, okay? And this bit here, right? And she's like, hey, justification is you enjoyed it last night, okay? And she's trying to deny it, okay? It wasn't me. And she's like, well, yeah, you enjoyed it, so it's fine, okay? Right, this bit here. And it makes it sound like it's all her fault. This bit here. You arrived in my suite, naked in my bed, and Night Coco filled me on the fact that staff had arranged a little something for me. So consider it. My only regret is the welcome package didn't hang around long enough for me to truly appreciate her. Why did you leave so abruptly, Miss North? We hardly had a chance to get to know one each other. That's grating uncomfortably like a bad gear change in her head, as the true horror of the situation had arisen itself. He thought he'd been part of some welcome package. Had she even noticed a basket of local cheeses and wines had been assembled for him and left waiting on the suite's coffee table? Cleaning up. Well, he didn't notice that. The welcome package came of cheese and wine. Oh, trust me. I noticed some cheese and wine, okay, if I walked in as a welcome package on the table, cheese and bloody wine. Some crackers too. Okay? Right. She had two choices. Tell him he'd been wrong in the reason she'd been in his bed, admit she worked late and the hotel been full, and that because he hadn't been more expected before breakfast. Hadn't been more expected before breakfast. She decided still nothing more than a few hours precious sleep in the only vacant bed in the hotel. Oh, this hotel's making money, okay? This hotel's making bank. You want to tear it down? Okay. Alright. And make herself look naive and stupid as she felt. Okay. Right. So she basically acts out like, yeah, yes, Dante, I was your welcome package. I was that the entire time. She was assaulted. And then she's like, yeah, that's right, I'm the welcome package. Oh, we save Ashton House now with your welcome package? Okay? Right. I'm sorry it seemed like a ridiculous idea when I thought of it. You clearly agree. I mean, it's obvious. You're not the kind of man who changes his mind about what he planned for the hotel just because of one night in a sack. He wanted to growl. He growls a lot in this book, growl. I can't growl, by the way. I'm not going to imitate a growl. Ah, there you go. Not only was he happy to insult his manhood, insult everything about you, Dante, including that, but she was the only woman who had decided she had enough before he had, and he didn't like that. So you pretend to know nothing, to deny it ever happened, even after I recognise you. She gave a jerky laugh, making a play of pushing back her hair with one hand. Oh yeah. Pushing back her hair. Hold on, let me just do that. Pushing back her hair with one hand. Here you go. Okay. It's highly sort of thing you want to confess. I thought it better to deny your knowledge and write it off to experience. And what if there was more than one night? She hesitated. I don't follow you. I never said I changed my mind about the hotel because of one night in the sack. You're right, but what if you had longer? Could you change your mind, do you think? I need to clear out this office. I don't have time for this. Okay, right. And she's like, and then it's like, oh, what if I change my mind? What if I change my mind? What if I don't tear down Ashton House? Right. And then when Ashton House and closed, no one does apart from you, and they're giving you the chance to save it. By sleeping with you, I don't believe you. His dark eyes claim to believe it. Deep down, don't sleep with me, and the hotel will be closed down, destroyed. Alternatively, sleep with me, and you're single-handedly saving it. So he essentially says, be my mistress for the next couple of weeks, and I won't tear down the hotel. Right. It was very just demanding, kind of deal at all, and she just turned him down flat. But standing up for himself, she let that hotel down, and agreeing to share his bed, there'd be just a glimmer of a chance that the hotel would be spared after all. Did she really have a choice? Yes, she whispered through lips. Suddenly, Ashton, what other parts of her body warmed and bloomed in certain knowledge of what was to come. I didn't hear you, he said, extracting the last shred of familiarity from her. Yes, she replied loud this time, I'll sleep with you. And then at that point, okay, soon as she says the word, I'll sleep with you, I will be a Mistress Save Ashton House, he is on her, okay? Right. He's like, okay, fine, I'm going to take you. I'm going to take you right here, right now, Mackenzie. Mackenzie, because I've got a boy's name, okay? Whatever. Right. Right. Turn around, he ordered. What? Turn around. Right. She dragged the air, needing oxygen desperately, but finding it infused with the rich pull of his scent, the rich heat of him, she shakenly towards the desk. What are you doing? He's going to basically take her, okay, on her desk. He's taking her skirt up to take her, okay? And she actually freaks out. She speaks up here, okay? Right. And she says, stop it. She actually says, stop it, okay? Right, stop it. Stop it, she pleaded, meaning it. Not meaning it, please, okay? His mouth took to her neck, moving over her in a lick of motion of pleasure. His body spooned behind her, as if they almost won, as silly as it should be. You want this, he uttered, his lips and breath dancing over sensitive skin. You want me. Not like this, she protested, even had her body bloomed with a desire so thick and languid, it threatened to buckle her knees. Certainly not yet. I said I would share your bed, not be taken like some Neanderthal woman. Right.